All right, ladies. Judy Weber here with Livy Girl Radio. And I am so blessed to be here with Neva Williamson. And Neva is a beautiful lady who does a lot of things. And you're going to hear that. I'm amazed at how she juggles it all. I have three kids, I have three stepsons, but they're older. So without further ado, I want to say hey to Neva. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I was like excited to, that you even invited me because I'm so active, in the group and following what you all are doing. I was like, oh, you want me to be on? Sure. I was like,
Absolutely. We're watching you, Neva. And there's like 12,000 other people also watching you. So let's start with your personal life. Would you mind sharing, please, kind of, as I mentioned, you're a mom to two beautiful little ones. You have a husband who's busy, busy, busy. Can you just give us a background of all that you have in your personal side of life?
okay. So on a personal side, so I'm married. I have two kids. They're 7 and look at me now. I'm trying to remember. They're 7 and 3, right? Oh man, that keeps me so busy. So they're 7 and 3, and then I'm married. But what I was telling you when we were talking is my husband travels a lot, so that makes it hard because, like, I was telling him, and he got upset. I'm like, when you leave, literally, I just like switched to like single mom. It's like there's a huge deficit, when you're not here. Like, not that I'm saying, I know you leave to support us and things like that, but there's a huge deficit, when your husband isn't there. Even my kids act differently, if he's not here. Like, they know, even if, they'll say, to call him, but it's not the same when they know their daddy's coming home in the evening as opposed to when I'm telling them, oh, he's coming back next week. It's totally different. Or I'll know, or just coordinating, because with real estate, sometimes, you have appointments in the evening. So during that time, the daycare is closed. So luckily for me, the way I even do that is my neighbor is a teacher. So she gets home really early. So a lot of times she'll watch them for me in the evening. But yeah, it's a juggle. I'm like, I tell my husband, to every single mom out there, I don't know how they do it. Because every time he leaves, I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Yep. And you just keep saying, I can. And, just what you mentioned with the support of other people. It takes a tribe, right? It takes
Yeah,
a community. Absolutely.
definitely.
So why don't you tell us your average day, Neva? Because as I mentioned, we'll get into that in a moment about how you do weekly videos and now even more than once a week. But what's the average day for you? What's it look like?
Um, what is an average day for me? Well, I try to do, like, especially my team lead, he's on us that we have to do lead generation every day. So that really helps me a lot to go ahead and just schedule that. So I try to do that in the morning. So for me, I have to get the kids off to school, and then I do lead generation for about 4 or 5 hours.
And
So
what does that look like
I do,
specifically?
yeah, because my niche is I do pre-foreclosures. So usually this is what my kind of like lead generation looks like. So Sunday nights, usually when my kids finally go to sleep, that's when I go and I download, because basically I get a new list every week. So I go in, I download that list Sunday night. Usually this is like 10 p.m. I go in, I download that list, I go through it to analyze, how many I have and things like that. And then Monday to Friday, probably from about 9 to 1, that's when I either do direct mail, or some of them, if they're close by, I print out the letter and I drop it, in their mailbox, or I slide it on the door. Some of them I had the phone number, I'll call. So that's basically what my lead generation looks like. Monday to Friday, 9 to 1, and then Sunday night downloading and getting that new list. And then appointments. For me, most agents are going to say they have appointments in the evening, but for me, because I do pre-foreclosures, sometimes my appointments are in the middle of the day, but I don't mind because that's when my kids are in school.
Right.
So, pre-foreclosures, they, a lot of times they're out of work, so they can do, a 2 o'clock appointment, a 3 o'clock appointment, because they don't have a job. So that kind of works for me, but I know that most agents, you know, probably start appointments maybe like 5 to 8 o'clock or something like that because they have to wait for everyone to get off work. So for me, sometimes I try to get my appointments in because then in the evening, especially if my husband isn't here, I have to make dinner, I have to help the kids with their homework. So yeah, it's a juggle.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I want to ask you there. So you have all these balls in the air, Neva. And for those out there, and there are many single moms who know your plight when your hubby's gone. So how do you keep positive? Because you always have that beautiful smile on your face. How do you keep that right mindset?
I just do it day by day by day. Like literally, I do a calendar and schedule and things like that. But for me, I have to just focus like on if I think too far ahead, I get overwhelmed. So for me, I have to like make a schedule. And then if it's Monday, I just focus on what I need to get done for Monday. If it's Tuesday, I just focus on what I need to get done for Tuesday. So I don't really, for me, I just get so overwhelmed quickly that I just try not to be like, because if I start thinking about it, I'll start thinking, oh no, my husband isn't going to be here that week. And then I have this appointment. Oh, wait, and then, like even like today, I have 2 listings that are going to go live this weekend. And it's like going through a checklist of, the lot box needs to be there. The sign needs to be there. One of them is a short sale. I had to go pick up the package. And like for short sales, the bank, they ask for 10,000 things.
Right.
And then my seller, he couldn't fax it or email it. So I had to go pick it up. So, just all that. So if I don't think about just what I need to get done today, then I'll be thinking, oh God, well, tomorrow I got. So for me, at least, I'll just get overwhelmed. So I just literally just make like a to-do list for the day. And then I just focus on today because usually I have a full day. Like I don't usually look at my calendar and there's like 5 hours. I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to do.
Okay. So then you wake up, you get the kids off to school, and you at that point go ahead and kind of set your day and get yourself mentally set. Is that what it comes
So I get up like the crack of dawn. So for me, I have to get up before my kids get up. If I don't get up before my kids get up, my day gets chaotic. So I have to get up before they get up, get dressed. That's when I'll go through my calendar and really go over what I need to do. So I really need that time in the morning because that's usually the only like peaceful time I get until they go to sleep at night. So like you got to get up early and get some time for yourself and then be busy all day. And then hopefully, when they go to bed, then you get some time to yourself again. At least for me, that's how my day usually goes.
Gotcha. Well, I think the ladies would be very interested to hear your story of how you came to real estate. I know we were talking before we went live here on the recording that you came from corporate America. So I'd love to hear that transition from there to where you are today.
Okay. Well, mine is kind of like, I wish I had like this, started from the bottom, then I got to the top thing, but my story is like, just all over the place. So basically for me, I, went to school, got my master's degree. I was an IT project manager. And then I started doing like real estate on the side, like real estate investing and things like that on the side. And literally what happened with me is, I had a baby, my older daughter, and I went back to work when she was 9 weeks and I got laid off the first week that I went back. Like I literally went to work and like the Tuesday, they were like, oh, your last day is going to be Friday. And I was like, what? I just got back. Like, so, yeah. So, oh, my phone is great. So what happened then, a couple of things happened that, I guess, a couple of things that happened. Okay. So I got laid off. And then when I got laid off, I closed on this real estate investment deal and I made $40,000. So I had that. So that was like a key thing that happened during that time because I was kind of like, everybody talks about that. Oh, you need to have extra income in case you get laid off. But I literally, for me, I wasn't even thinking that I would get laid off because I had just gotten like this awesome review, which is what was crazy. I had just delivered my project ahead of schedule under budget. So it was like, I wasn't even thinking anything that I would get laid off. But literally what happened was the government pulled the funding that paid for my spot on the project.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, because they even were saying, well, hey, will you stay until we kind of figure out, some funding? And I'm like, you want me to work? No, like, that's insane, right? So I had that. So I had that deal. And then I just kind of started thinking, like, I probably, if that didn't happen to me, I just kind of started thinking more serious about it, real estate, because I was like, man, like, what if I was not doing this on the side? Like, everybody's like, save up and blah, blah, blah. But the thing was, I was like sick during my pregnancy and stuff. So it was like finally time now for me to come back and rebuild my savings coming back because I didn't get paid, when I was on maternity leave. That was all unpaid leave. And plus I had to take off like a month before I had her because I had a hernia. That was all unpaid. So it was like I was literally like had savings, but then spent it, like you're supposed to, they say, during that time. Now that I go back to work to build back my savings, I get laid off. So had I not closed on that deal, it would have been like, really additional stress. And then you just had a new baby. So
when did you get your license though, hon? Did you get your license?
And that was just real estate investor. I didn't even have my license. I got my license. I want to say I was doing real estate investing. So maybe like, I have to go back and look because I probably had my license maybe like 4 or 5 years or something like that because I got my license because people used to always approach me thinking I had my license. And I'd be like, oh no, I'm not an agent. I just do like investing stuff. And so I used to always like, give leads to other agents or things like that. And then one day I was like, this is crazy. I need to like, maybe I could get my license and really that would be additional income. I could do the agent thing as well. So that's kind of how I got in to be an agent. So that's how, my story isn't really like, oh, I was doing this and then I said, oh, let me do that. It was kind of like,
kind of fell into it, right?
Yeah, I kind of fell into the agent side because everybody always assumed I was an agent and they'd call me, oh, can you come with me? We were looking at this house. Or, and I'd be like, oh, I don't have my license. I can't help you. And, yeah. So then I was like, and then sometimes on the investment side, sometimes a lot of leads on the investment side, you end up throwing away because they're not good leads. So you literally throw them away. And it wasn't until literally I probably was doing investing for maybe 3 years when I actually just like bumped into, I went to a meetup actually with my team lead now, Rob Chavez. And we just happened to be talking. And I just happened to say, because I didn't know anything about like lead generation and stuff. I was just like doing investing stuff. And on the investment side, people don't talk as much about lead generation and marketing as much as on the agent side. And so we were talking about numbers. And I said to him, oh, I probably go through like 100 leads to get one deal. And he said to me, oh, what do you do with the rest of the leads? I said, oh, I throw them away. And he was like, he was an agent. He was like, what? He said, those are deals in there for agents. Like, why are you throwing them away? And I said, oh, I never even thought about it. Like, I just threw them away. I was like, oh, I can't help you. I'm sorry. But I would throw the lead away. Right. So that's what got me thinking of, oh, that is another, I could be getting additional revenue by helping people doing. That's how I got into like short sales and things like that I could do only as an agent, or even if they don't accept my offer on the investment side, just, listing the property on the market and things like that. So that's why it kind of came like together, just started like meshing together.
Well, let's transition because you have 12,000 fans on YouTube, 12,000 plus subscribers. And it seems that you focus on the investing. You also focus on, showing real estate agents and others kind of your back end, what life is like for you. But golly, can you tell us how you got to 12,000 subscribers? That's just amazing.
It is. It's like so crazy. Every time I go on there and there's additional people, I'm always thinking, where are all these people coming from? So what I do, I think the biggest thing is when I started, because the reason I even started the channel was when the deal I was telling you about with the 40,000, because like, so much was going on in my life at the time. And literally when I closed the deal, I wanted like a copy of the check. So I told the settlement company, oh, give me a hard check so I could take like a copy of it, blah, blah, blah. So I did that. I get to the bank to deposit the check. This is my bank that I've been banking with for I don't know how many years. They wouldn't accept the check. They thought the check was fake, right? So, yeah, they thought the check was fake. So they wouldn't accept the check. And the bank manager comes out. She's like real nasty. She's like, where did you get this check from? And I'm like, the settlement company, because it's written on top of the check. And she's like, she walked away and she was like, oh, we're not going to accept the check. So, long story short, I finally had to go back to the settlement company, give them the check back, and then they had to wire me the money since the bank would not deposit the check. So I ended up like sharing the story on social media. And then I got a lot of emails and stuff because people were like, oh, what type of real estate investing are you doing that you're getting $40,000 checks, blah, blah, blah. And so because of that, I started the YouTube channel to answer like a lot of the questions that I was getting because I was literally, my email was flooded, but then I would feel bad because I used to be one of those people like, is this real? I keep seeing these commercials like late at night. Is this real? Is this really real, or is it like a scam to sell books? And so it was just more me telling stories in the beginning of, oh, this is what I would do. This is what happened. Because even if you look back, I didn't even really post a lot. I would just answer the emails. But people I know that people just like stories. They just like to see like somebody that's real that they could relate to, and things like that. So, that helps the channel grow because a lot of people go on YouTube for like tutorials, how to, like I just did a video on like door knocking or cold calling. So people want to know, what do you do? What does it look like when you go door knocking? Does door knocking even work? Does cold calling work? When you cold call, what do you say? What happens when you cold call? How do you handle, when people are mean to you and you cold call, or how do you handle when people are mean when you door knock? So people are just looking for like a real person that does it to share their story, as opposed to, if you just get like a textbook, oh, here's the script, go door knock. And you're like, okay, especially for women, we're like, is this safe for me to go door knock? You know what I mean? It's like all that stuff that people will ask me, like, well, when you door knock, or even when you go to listings or you go by yourself, so just sharing stuff like that so people can see, just how to do it, or that it can be done, because especially for women, sometimes on the investment side, it's pretty much dominated by men. So of course, when people see women, they're like, oh, they just like approach you because they're like, oh, how are you doing that? Are you flipping houses? And, how do you handle the contractors and stuff? Do they respect you and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, I'm the one cutting the check. I think so. Like, little stuff like that, women will be excited to know, like, how do you do that? How do you handle that? So,
right. I do want to ask you just like investor tips in getting started. But before we do that, 2 questions. Number one, did your channel grow organically, or did you have like a strategy to get to where you are today? Number one.
Okay.
And number 2 is, do you have like an email list from YouTube? Like, are you working your YouTube channel, for lack of a better word, to grow and get leads for you as an agent?
Okay. So originally it started, it just grew organically because I didn't know what I was doing, right? So that's how it grew organically. And luckily, that's why it's good to have, to be like the dumbest person in the group. So one of my friends right there, just like online advertising and stuff. She was like, oh, are you like getting the emails and stuff? And I was like, how do you do that? What are you talking about? And so she was like the first one. She was like, oh, I have to help you. So she was the one that taught me, like, oh, you need to, get all these people's email address. She's like, because what she said to me, she's like, what if YouTube crashes, or what if YouTube changes how they do things and you can't reach those people anymore? So I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. And then at the time, I was thinking, how do you make money, from YouTube, or how do you make money because people are subscribing? I was like, I don't get money from that. You get money from the ads, but it's not much. for me, I think in a month, maybe I'll make like $150 or something from ads. So I'm like, that's not really something that I'm going to quit my job over. So she was the one that taught me, oh, give something away. So I created a free ebook, and I would like mention in some of my videos, hey, go to this link, download this free ebook on how to start investing. And I did that for a long time before I even made money from that, because I didn't have like any products or anything to sell. But she was like, just get the list, and later you'll figure out like how to make money. And I was like, okay. So I did that, and I just really had this email list like for a long time. And then people kept saying, do you offer mentoring? Do you offer mentoring? And I was like, oh no, I don't offer mentoring. And she's like, why are you not offering mentoring if they're asking you that? So I started doing like mentoring. So now I can email out to the list and say, hey, the mentoring class is opening up. You can sign up. So that way I generate money off the channel. Also, I actually just got a listing because people will find me on the channel, because like I do pre-foreclosures. And so people will Google it. And the good thing with YouTube is Google. So now I'm smart enough. Now I use TubeBuddy. It's called TubeBuddy. It's a tool. And you could like, it helps you to pick keywords to use. So now I've gotten, smarter. And so I'm more like using keywords in my videos, like, just some type of pre-foreclosure agent, something, Virginia. I'll list like the counties or something where I serve in the tags. So now when people are Googling for short sales in Virginia, foreclosure in Virginia, they'll come across my videos. Wow. So that way is how people will find me, because even this guy, I've never met him before. He called and he's like, I learned so much from your videos. He's like, oh, I want, I definitely, he said, I was because looking for your contact info. So I said to myself, I need to do better, because I usually put the number in my phone number in the beginning, and I don't do it again because I thought it was like overkill. I don't want to look like, call me. And he's like, oh, I went looking to get your contact information, because he said, I was like, oh, I want her to represent me. We need to do a short sale. And so it kind of helps, because you're kind of like, you're providing information, right? And then people are like, oh, she's an expert in this. I want her to represent me, as opposed to when you go on a listing presentation, you're trying to convince people that you know what you're doing. Whereas for me, when I show up, people already see, oh, she knows this stuff. Where do I sign? A lot of times people are like, oh, where do I sign? Just send me the paperwork. So like for him, they signed before we actually met in person, because he was already like, oh, I know that I want you to be our agent. He's like, what do we need to do? What do I need to sign? So just providing like information to people, just showing that, you know what you're doing. Or that's what I was telling people too, just having a niche is important. Because if I was just saying that I was an agent, it wouldn't really penetrate as much, because, there's like a million agents or something in Virginia, I'm sure. So, yep. So if people are looking for me exactly for investments, or they're looking for me exactly for pre-foreclosures, or sometimes I'll help people like, for instance, I had a client last year where I helped her stop a foreclosure, and then I helped her buy a new house. And this year she sent me a referral for a first time, this is going to be like this lady's first time home buyer, whatever. So she's not like distressed or anything, but I'll also get referrals because I've helped someone in the past, and they'll say, or even sometimes I'll help people save the house, just help them do a loan modification. So I don't charge for that, but because I've helped people with that, of course they send me referrals, because they feel, I want to help you. I want to give you something back. Right. And so if they hear a friend or a family member saying they're looking to buy or sell, they'll say, oh, call Neva, So I get a lot of referrals that way, because I've helped someone in the past and things like that.
You're a real giver. I mean, and that just testifies to
yeah.
that. So can you tell me again the keywords tool? Was that called
TubeBuddy. It's TUBE and then Buddy, BUDDY.
Okay.
It's TubeBuddy. It's a really good tool. If you just go, I'm sure like to their website or something, and it's like a I guess you have to have Chrome because I use Chrome for the internet, and it's like an extension that will be added into your Chrome, and then you go on YouTube, and what it does basically, you go on TubeBuddy, and because if you're just starting like a brand new channel, and like say, like for us, we're doing real estate. You don't want to use the keyword real estate because you're totally brand new, and there's just so much competition for real estate. So TubeBuddy kind of helps you to pick like they call it long tail keywords. So it could be like, it could be something longer that people are searching for, like woman in real estate in San Diego or something. Because it's a longer keyword, then you can get found most likely because it's longer, as opposed to if a channel has like 1 million subscribers and they already dominate for real estate as SEO, you can't compete with that. So I do like a lot of long tail keywords where it may be like, for me, pre-foreclosure in Prince William County. Like it's so like long. So that's what I said to the guy. I said, what did you Google for to find me? He said, oh, I Googled short sale agent in Virginia. So that helps me. Oh, that will help me to know, keep using that keyword. So it's like, you just want to get like some long tail keywords in the beginning that, because that's why I always tell people too, you don't really need a lot of views and stuff. You just need the right people to find you. Like I don't need 10,000 people to see my video and they're like in California. Like that's not really helping me, because like I said, for the Google ads, you're going to get like a couple $100. But if people find you where you're located and call you, for me here, that's like $10,000. So I only need like, one person to see the video, like, and call me.
So what do you do when you release a new video? What do you do to try to get the word out? I know you're probably all over social media, but if you could go through that, and also do you send it out to your email database?
Yeah, send it out, because that's the thing too. You have to push your own content, because YouTube is not going to automatically start doing that. So you have to push your own content. So that's like one of the hardest things is you create this video. If you just post it on YouTube, like 2 people will literally see it. So for me, that's what I'm saying. For a long time, I was building that email list. So now I could send out an email and let people know. That's thousands of people that I email and say, there's a new video up, here's the topic, if you have questions on it, or, things like that. And then I can post it to Facebook, let Instagram know you got a new video, LinkedIn. So you have to share it. And then the more people that go to that video, then YouTube starts to send people to it, because now YouTube's like, oh, what's going on here? There's a lot of people here. Or especially if you could get comments, like ask questions in your video, so that people will comment. So you want to ask, like if you're talking about, like I just did a video on door knocking, I'm like, hey, do you think you can do this now? Just ask a question to engage people. Or I'll say things like, if this video has helped you, hit the like button. So YouTube likes engagement, and it's going to give you more credit. So like, even if literally, because YouTube, Google, all these social media platforms, people could absolutely hate your video. Like if they keep hitting the dislike button, it doesn't matter. They still would give that video juice because it's attracting people. So if you made a video, it got like 10,000 dislikes, YouTube would still keep putting the video out because it's engaging people. They don't really care if people like it or not. Mm-hmm. It's just to get the engagement. It's just to keep people on the platform. It's just for me to say, look at this crazy video, and then I share it with you. So that's the key to social media. That's what I used to find when I was like, researching it, when I started to get more smarter. And they were like, it doesn't matter. Like if Kim Kardashian posts a picture and everybody's like, why is she posting another naked picture? It doesn't matter that you're hating it. It just matters that you're talking about it. It just matters that you're sharing it, because YouTube and Google, they just want you to stay on the platform. So they'll give you credit just because you're bringing people on the platform. So it doesn't even matter if people like you.
Great point, Neva. And that's one I did not know, that
Me either.
would be, it's okay. It's all about the engagement.
Yeah, that's what they would tell me. Like, if you get a dislike, they're like, or even I have a video, I'm pregnant, like one of my top videos. I keep like my breathing is like so off in the video because I'm like literally like 10 months pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I knew that, like this class I took, they were like, if people will comment, they're like, you keep smacking and you're breathing. And they're like, oh, just respond. Because YouTube doesn't know that people are saying something negative. So somebody can say, oh, I hate your hair. Still go on there and respond and say, oh, thank you. Because it's an additional comment, So every comment that you put on my channel, I'll respond no matter what it is. Like, so that will help. It's just to keep the engagement. The higher your engagement, YouTube will start to promote your video.
Now, do you time block your day to say, all right, I'm going to spend 15 or 20 minutes to do all my social media for the day, or what does that look like for you?
For the YouTube channel, I'll record like in bulk. I try to record like maybe 3 videos, like in a day or something like that, and then I'll have a day later where I edit the video, because then it takes me a while to edit the video. But I try to record in bulk. That's the easiest thing. Just record 3-4 videos back to back and then edit them later. That's what works for me. And then, because that's the thing, is engagement is important. So then you want to make your video live at a time when you're going to comment. Because if you just put the video out there and then somebody comments and you don't respond, then the engagement goes low. So you want to like record your video, say you put it up at night, 8 o'clock, just always be there, maybe give yourself 15 or 30 minutes that you comment right after you post it. Because then YouTube will say, oh, they say the first 48 hours of posting the video is the most important. So you just want to ask, like, that's what I say. At that time, you can ask questions. You can start sharing the video just so that the video starts to get some activity right when you post it.
Gotcha. Wow. That is such good stuff. What are your best editing apps for your videos?
I use iMovie, or sometimes I tell people, there's a guy on Fiverr.com that's really good. If I don't have time, I'll ask him to edit it. But I have a Mac, so I just use like iMovie right now. And literally, I just use YouTube to learn how to use iMovie. I just go on on YouTube for iMovie tutorials. So right now, but when I first started, I used to just pay somebody on Fiverr to edit the video for me, because I didn't know anything about editing videos, so I would just pay. But now over the years, I've learned to edit the video myself.
Okay, and is that pretty easy? Like now that you've actually gone in and did it, was it something like, man, if I would have just taken a couple of hours, I could have figured it out on my own? Would you recommend that? Or?
It depends though, because like for me, I have an IT background, so I may be catching on faster to certain things that maybe somebody else, if they were like a science major, maybe they wouldn't. You know what I mean? So, but like I said too, editing takes a lot of time. So in the beginning, I was working a full-time job and trying to do real estate on the side. There was no way that I was going to edit a video, because the editing takes a long time. So even sometimes now, I'll have 5 videos done, but I'm running around working. I don't have time to edit the video, because it takes me, it takes a long time to edit videos, especially the ones if I'm like moving around, if I went out, the more that's going on in the video, the more it takes to edit, like the lighting and all this stuff, so it can take a couple hours to edit a video. Like you could maybe record it in 30 minutes, but then maybe it takes you 2-3 hours to edit. So
yeah,
and that's like it's a learning curve too, because another person might edit in 30 minutes what I'm taking 2 hours to do. You know what I mean? So you're learning the software, and that's why I said sometimes, like, if it's just piling up, I'll just pay him to do it, because it's not, the price they paid on Fiverr to edit a video as opposed to me taking hours.
Right. So what is the average price? I mean, I'm sure it depends.
It depends on how much editing you need, of course, and then they usually go by the length of the video. So mine's I think my videos are probably maybe 10 minutes or less. So I usually end up paying like maybe $10, $20 for him to edit the video.
Oh, wow. That's so worth it.
That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes I'm just like, okay, I need you to edit this one because I can't I'm just too busy, or if I notice it's been sitting and piling up, let me just pay him to edit it, and I'll, get back on track with get the upload going.
Right, right. Well, you know what? I can't even believe the time. And I think I might have to bring you back at some point in the not too distant future. But on our way out, I would love to hear, like, a couple of tips on starting and investing.
Okay.
And I know there's so much that's kind of an unfair question because it's like you could talk for the next 3 hours, I'm sure. But if someone was saying, I really want to jump into investing, not on the real estate side, but I want to be an investor. What are some top tips you might have out, pass out?
Usually when people approach me with that, I'm always like, the first thing you need to do is decide what type of investing you need to do. So I usually just tell people, hey, before you even spend any money or buy a course or anything, I'm like, just go to the library. The books are free. Just go take out some books on real estate investing, read them. You're gonna see you're gonna be attracted to something, rentals, wholesale and flipping houses, something you're gonna say, oh wait, I didn't know you could do tax liens. And then from there, you could really look out and get some type of maybe specialized course, or reach out to somebody that specializes in that area. But I kind of tell people in the beginning not to spend a lot of money, because you really need to learn what is it you want to do. Because sometimes, people approach me and the reason why I say that first now is people approach me, they bought these courses like $2,000-$3,000, and I feel bad. I'm like, what? That's so much money, and I'm like,
When
just
they're not
take your
sure
time.
what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, just take your time and learn first, what you want to do, because you may think you want to be a landlord, but then when you read up on what it takes to be a landlord, you're like, oh, I don't want to be a landlord. I would rather renovate houses and sell, or you know what I mean? So I always tell people, just go to the library, take out some books and read up on it, and see if it's even something that you want to do before you start spending any money and things like that. Because yeah, people spend, I mean, the real estate investment courses, I mean, they're like thousands. I've met people that have spent 10 grand and they've never done a deal and they've never made any money off of it. Because the thing is, with real estate investing, people get overwhelmed too. They go and they get so much stuff, and then they're like, okay, where do I start? Because I just know so much now.
Mhm.
So that's the best advice I would give, is just, just give yourself some time to learn what is it you want to accomplish first.
Gotcha, gotcha. And my last question of this time together, and I so appreciate your time, Neva. You're awesome. Uh, like I personally have never invested,
Mhm.
but the idea of flipping always seemed neat. I'm sure, as you watch HGTV, they make it look easy, but
Mhm.
you flipped houses. And so my question to you is, how do you put that team together of contractors, or are you handy? I mean, how do you even go about finding those contractors to help you flip?
Um, the best thing I would say is, if you're totally brand new, that you need to go out and find out who, like, go out and find out like who's a really good person that's already flipping houses, and just ask them who they are using. Because like for me, the contractors that we've been using for years, and you'll always find that with people that renovate houses, that once they get a crew together, that's their crew, that's it. But the reason why I say to go out and ask people who they're using is, a lot of times I have purchased houses from people that are trying to flip houses. And that's what happens. All contractors are not created equal. And it's just so expensive to have the wrong person working on your contract. I've had people where I went and we purchased a house from them because they paid contractors and the contractors left. The contractors didn't finish the work. Just so much stuff, because especially nowadays, anybody can put up a Google ad. Anybody can put up, an ad and say, oh, we've done 10, 20 houses. But like I tell people, I don't really know if you did that. But if I've seen and walked through a house and I ask the renovator, oh, who did you use? And they give me a referral, that's totally different. But if you just pick someone online, you don't really know the quality of the work. And that's the thing, with they make it look so easy on HGTV, because here's the thing, after you do all that work, the house has to pass inspection. And so some contractors that don't really focus on flipping houses, they may come in and the work may look good, but they don't know to look for certain things that need to pass inspection. So then you have people that they pay $50,000 to renovate a house, and then we go in there, the house can't pass inspection. It looks pretty, but it doesn't pass inspection. That's additional money now they have to spend to bring, to fix whatever needs to be fixed. So that's why I always say, I'm like, you need to get a referral from someone that has used this person to renovate a house that was, for flipping. Because I don't know, especially for me nowadays, I just don't trust the internet. And because I've met with so many people that have made that mistake. I've met with people, they don't even live here in Virginia. They're in another state, and they hired a contractor here, and they're like, oh, they were sending me weekly pictures. And I get there and I'm like, these pictures are not of your house. Like stuff like that. I'm like, there's so much going on. Because that's the thing. HGTV makes everything look so easy. And I'm like, no, if you're renovating the house, we're on site like every day, every week. I don't pay contractors and then go back in a month. That's insane. Anybody that renovates houses for a living will tell you that they would never, ever do that, because you cannot, unless you get to the point where you trust that team. I would never, ever, I wouldn't even give you $10 and tell you to paint because, because, people, like I said, it's just so much stuff that goes into it that it's not as easy as HGTV makes it look.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Neva, thank you. You are just awesome. I love you so much. Thank you so much for spending time with me tonight. And I know that the ladies listening are like, bring her back. So will you come back sometime?
Oh, definitely. I'll come back. I'm just so happy to come on. Like I said, I love the group of ladies. It's just so nice, what you guys have done to build that out. It's a large group now too. So it's just
5,000 in Canada.
Yeah, that's man. You talking about me with 12,000? It's a large group, and just there's great content in there to help everyone in real estate, and people are from all over. And like I said, it's different for women in the business. It's just different when you're. Certain things are going to be the same, but there are certain things, like I said, with being a mom and being a realtor and things like that, or safety issues for us and things like that are just unique. You want to talk to another woman about it. So it's just, that's a, really great, encouraging group.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neva. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care.
Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.